Welcome to this episode of Social Distance Television, the show funded during the COVID-19 scare to make our students more aware.
From news to schoolwork, everything is constantly changing, and it's hard to keep up with it all. We're here to fill you in with national and local news, along with various student-made segments, so enjoy.
I'm Devin Handy.
And I'm Elena Pittman, and you're
watching
watching
SDTV. On today's show, we'll learn a new way to keep positive, listen to some hot takes, and catch up with our latest boredom buster. Later, we'll catch up with the Fear Desk, and then we'll watch a new Hidden Talent submission. But first, let's see what's in the news.
MCPS officials announced a new policy regarding grading for the fourth quarter. MCPS has developed a framework that provides criteria for staff and how to determine whether a student can earn a pass for the fourth marking period.
The framework emphasizes the importance of student engagement over precise scores and grades on assignments. It also includes criteria of students' completion of assignments, demonstration of learning, and more.
In other local news, a standoff has erupted between Purple Line contractors and the state. The construction firms building the Purple Line are planning to leave the $2 billion project after the state refused to pay for, quote, extensive delays and added costs. The construction company is expected to quit within 60 to 90 days.
On Saturday, religious leaders, state delegates, and businesses filed lawsuits against Governor Larry Hogan and other top officials, asking the courts to step in and stop the regulations and orders they claim are violating the people of Maryland.
This occurs as a protest kicked off in Maryland Saturday with a gathering of people wearing shirts calling for the state to reopen. The group Reopen Maryland, opposed to the state's stay-at-home order, was planning to drive across the state, concluding with a speech by Republican Congressman Andy Harris.
That's all the news for today, but be sure to check back next week for more updates on current events.
Hey everyone, it's Graham. I'm out here in southern Maryland. I'm going to be doing a little bit of fishing today. It's a pretty decent evening. It's around 55 degrees. The water temperature is at about 50 degrees. And it is around 7:20, so I'm just going to keep some bait on my hooks and get my lines in the water and see if we can catch anything. I'm going to cut this one up into 3 pieces. And what I'm going to do, take my pliers, and again, because this is the mouth, I'm going to be using pliers here. I don't want it to bite me. I'm just going to thread the hook. What I'm going to look for is now I'm going to take my finger, hold on to the line with my finger while unflipping the ring on the reel. I'm going to wind back, release your finger as you're crossing the rod, put the reel back around, You see right there is a striped bass. They don't have teeth, but they do have little things that feel like sandpaper in their mouth. You see you got a large eye for the predator. You want to make sure that you have a good grip on it. Okay. The back you can see, I don't want to let go of it, but those stripes are the telltale striped bass stripes. Yeah, great fish. A bit small, but...
Thanks to Graham and Brendan for depicting a creative way to stay positive during these times. Last week on Hot Take, we had Ellie discuss what celebrities have been up to. This week we have something different. Check it out.
Hey, it's Rad Vision for cool kids. Let's go! The Rat Kid is, outside my house. I don't know his name, I just call him the Rat Kid because he looks like a rat kid. Imagine a giant rat crawling around in the sewers. That rat is the Rat Kid. Imagine scientists skinned a giant rat and then they replaced the rat skin with human skin, and then they gave him clothes, and now we've got a rat kid on the loose. So that's why he's a rat kid, because it's like a rat in a human's disguise, and it acts like a human, but he has like the skeletal structure of a rat. I can't really pinpoint why he looks like a rat. I imagine that when he eats, he looks like a rat too. He's looking at me. He saw me looking at him. I think I might be a little stupid because he doesn't really look like a rat, but he has rat-like features, making him look like not a rat, but what it would look like if maybe humans evolved from rats instead of chimpanzees or monkeys or gorillas. Okay, he's back. Also, the question is, based on my hypothesis, if he is in fact not human and more accurately rat-based life form, evolutionarily on par up to at the same point as humans, does the Rat Kid deserve human rights? And that I can't answer that one.
So this is my dog Bugs Bunny. I thought that there was no better time than during quarantine to teach her some tricks. So we started off with just the basics that we already knew, which were sit, spin, drop, and then I was going to teach her some new tricks. The first new trick that I wanted to teach her was to roll over, because she already knew how to lay on her side, she just didn't know how to go the whole way around. So that was the next trick that I attempted to teach her.
Yes, good girl. Yes.
Because she already knew how to lay on her side, I also wanted to teach her to play dead. So in order to differentiate the two commands, I gave one of them bang, which was playing dead, and the other one roll over, which is pretty self-explanatory.
Sit. Sit. Drop. Bang. Yes. Drop. Bang. Yes.
For the next trick I wanted to teach her, I wanted to try and get her to jump on my back as I was kneeling down, but as you can see, this proved a lot harder than I thought, and she didn't really understand what I was trying to get her to do. In the the end, I kind of gave up on her trying to immediately jump on my back, and so we did some other tricks like shake, and then I had the idea that maybe if she jumps on a box, she would be able to do it, so we tried that.
Ready? Yes, good girl. Yes, sit. Ready? Sit. 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 Come on, up. 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 Sit. Yes, good girl.
As you can see, she kind of got the idea, but there was a lot of times where she wouldn't get all the way onto the box. But I was much happier with her at least trying than her not understanding at all.
Up. Sit. Yes, good girl. Bye-bye. Yes, good girl.
After the box idea, I tried one last time to see if maybe now she would jump on my back, but it was pretty clear that she didn't want to do that, and so I just gave up, I guess, because she clearly wanted to go have a lie down.
Thanks, Mackenzie. It's nice to see that some species are really enjoying these times. Speaking of species, now we'll return to the Fear Desk, where today we have an interview with another amazing artist on what they've contributed to the museum. Check it out.
Hi, I'm Daria Taspinar, bringing to you the artist behind Fear itself. Having surpassed over 1 million cases of COVID-19 in the US and over 65,000 COVID-19 related deaths, let's not forget that anxiety was a very real part of teen life before this pandemic. And sadly, it will exist long after we find an antidote for COVID-19. The student artist behind MOCAT, the Museum of Contemporary American Teenagers, understands that. That is why they dedicated this year's installation to the topic of fear. Fear itself will open as soon as it is safe to do so, but Social Distance TV hopes to bring to you the student artists behind this amazing exhibit. Today, let's meet the artist Delilah Seaman. Can you please describe what kind of artwork you create?
The artwork that I create, my style tends to be more towards realistic and less towards abstract, and I prefer to do portraits of people, sometimes of things, and the medium I use the most is drawing illustration with pencils, pens, and markers, but I occasionally use other mediums like watercolor, acrylic paints on different types of surfaces.
Can you walk us through your girl and stone piece?
So the girl and stone piece is, I would say, a more serious fear. It's about sexual assault and a fear of, certainly that I've thought about sometimes, of being blamed for it if it happens to me. So the concept is that it's like a game. The cutout of the girl will have targets on her, and the viewer will be able to throw fake stones at her, and the stones will be painted with common justifications for sexual assault, like what was she wearing, was she asking for it, was she flirting with him, things like that.
Can you walk us through some of your pieces unrelated to fear?
Most of the non-MOCAT related artwork that I do is pretty random, or it's based on a TV show I've seen or a book I read recently, or just something that came up in my imagination. So this is my most recent one. I did this one just today. And then most of these are drawings of people or characters, like this one. And then I have some more simple ones with not a lot of color. And I've got a lot that are just line art, just lines, no color. Something like this one, or this one. And those tend to have more complicated details, but no shading or coloring. And then I've got some other ones that aren't people, like these. These ones I did a while ago. These are watercolor paintings of flowers.
What inspires you as an artist?
As an artist, I'm mostly inspired by pretty regular things that are around me, It's nothing too special, but I get inspired by other people, fashion, nature, books, movies, TV shows, pictures I found on the internet, anything really that's interesting to me, I can use as inspiration for my art.
I understand that your environment piece relates to fear. Can you go through the processes you went through to create it?
The environment piece is the last one I came up with, and I thought of the idea when I was trying to think of, I just heard the theme of this year's MoCat, Fear Itself, and I was trying to think what makes me most afraid for the future. And I quickly came up with the answer, which is that we're not going to be able to do anything to stop the way the environment's going. That by the time the next generation is our age, the environment will be in ruins because we didn't do enough to stop it. So I tried to draw on that fear I decided to do a mural for that one. And I tried to represent what I fear that our planet's going to look like for the next generation.
I have the same question for your selfie piece. Can you please describe the processes that you went through to create it?
My selfie piece was the first one I did, Fear It Selfie, and that one's based on some more common teen anxieties, mostly social stuff. What if my friends don't really like me, they're just pretending to, stuff like that. And I represented those on thought bubbles that people can hold over their heads and take a selfie with these two, they're supposed to be like your friends. They're two plywood cutouts, and making the cutouts was the hardest part. That was the main part, and that was a little interesting because I'd never used wood as a medium before. But it was fun, it was cool. I think they turned out pretty well.
How does fear tie into your works of art?
All of these works are based around different types of fear, different expressions of fear. Something like the selfie piece is a more personal thing, whereas something like the environmental is on a more global scale, but they're all significant fears that a lot of people experience, especially teenagers like us,
And lastly, what makes you passionate about your artwork?
I'm very passionate about my art because it's less like a hobby and more like a necessity for me. I see something that inspires me and I have to draw it right away or make something based on it. So I do it whenever I have time. I find that it calms me. I don't have to think a whole lot when I'm doing it. And it's very important to me, and it's a big part of who I am.
Thank you so much, Delilah, for setting aside time for this interview and sharing with all of us your wonderful artwork. And thank you to everybody for tuning in. See you next time.
Finally, we want to clap out for a different group of people making life in our community a little more bearable. Today, let's clap out for teachers, as it's Teacher Appreciation Week. Even if our classes are online, teachers are still working hard to bring us important lessons.
That concludes this episode of Social Distance Television. Remember to stay safe
And check MCPS TV for more.